Welcome to the Come Up Starter Kit, guys. My name is Shankar and I have a very special guest with me today. Today I have Sesh, who is a software developer. Today I brought on Sesh to give us a bit of an insight about his journey and understand what a senior developer does for people wanting to pursue a career in this field. Thank you so much, Sesh, for finding the time, especially through these unprecedented times, and joining me.
Thanks, Shankar. It's a pleasure talking to you. Wonderful, especially in this crazy times. We could have sat together in a coffee shop and did it face to face, but now it's all crazy, technical, techie way of doing it on video call. That's fun too.
Exactly. A whole lot of technology is now being used, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right into it. How are you coping with the new way of working? How are you finding it?
Yeah, good question. This is crazy times. Never worked from home for such a long duration. It's been months now. Never met colleagues. So initial few weeks was challenging, especially I have two kids.
Yeah.
I have twin daughters of 5-year-old who were jumping around. Now they are at school, thank God.
Yeah, right.
So it was really hard. Me at home, my wife at home. We have now 2 work office at home, and we have twin girls rounding, troubling us. So first 1 week they were confused what's happening. We were wondering how to work out, but slowly we moved on. Now we have a routine schedule. We feel we are in office.
Yeah.
So I dropped to school at 8:30. My kids to school, come back, in a well-dressed manner, as if I'm going to office.
Yeah.
And then have your lunch, breakfast, coffee, all sorted, so that I don't waste time in between them.
Right.
So it's like a normal office hours, but with a little bit of flexibility. So it took a week or two for us to get there. But now, after a while, we feel, this is now turning out to be good. So we have a little flexibility to pick and drop kids.
Right.
Especially now we are able to give a little bit more time to kids in their routine work.
Yeah.
And we are able to get the work done. In fact, our productivity is much higher now compared to office, because we don't travel and we are not exhausted. Even if we are working a little bit more hours, we have more energy to cover up things. And this flexibility, or a little bit of here and there, is helping us to manage work and life.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's awesome.
Good. And what would be your one golden nugget to staying sane?
It's hard to say one golden nugget, but I would say a couple of things. One is calm the farm. So calm down.
Yes.
Don't stress out. So this is one of the greatest thing which I learned these years, that whatever the situation is, there is no point in stressing out. So first we need to calm down, take a deep breath, and have a look at the situation and see what we can do. So we are in crazy times. I believe we'll be going for another lockdown for next few months.
Yeah.
So we'll be working from home for next few months. It's not easy. Some kids are going through anxiety. Some people are going through anxiety. And deal with this is by calming down, slowing down, slow down, so that we'll be able to deliver much better goods. So, and the other things which is important in these times, which we all know, is cash is king. Don't spend too much. If you want Mercedes or something, this is not the right time to buy. We are in a crazy moment where we don't know, lots of small businesses are going down. So just wait and watch. Don't spend much. Keep your money with you. Be wise. And take this as an opportunity to increase your knowledge. So someone has time, invest this time in personal growth, like read some books, do some certifications. You have a lot of knowledge around, and internet, these days we have internet for free. You get so much of sources to increase development. not the case. Now we use all that, get all that, and take this as an opportunity rather than stressing out about this crazy times. We are quite happy now. It's been 15 years of marriage. I never spent so much time with my wife and family. Now, last 3 or 4 months, we are at home, so loving it.
I like that. Very good. All right. So let's now kick off into your journey. And I'd like to sort of start off. I know that you originally came from India and then moved to Australia. Maybe we'll start off with that, and then I'll jump into a few other questions.
I cut off a little bit your voice.
That's all right.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Not a problem. So maybe we'll start off with your journey when you first came to Australia from India.
Yeah. So I came to Australia in 2013, 2014, that period. It's been 5 or 6 years in Australia, nearly 6 years. Before that, I was in India. I worked for telco industry as a software developer for 10 long years. I started my career in 2005 in Motorola, then to Sonos Networks, then to Cisco Systems. For 10 long years, I was working in telecommunication industry as a C++ Python developer, most probably. And then I moved to Australia. The decision of moving to Australia was to ensure that we give a much better lifestyle to my kids. So not for ourselves, we had a much better life in India in terms of finance and growth, etc. But thinking for our kids, we decided that this is the right move, and we moved in here. Initially, it was very hard because Melbourne and Australia are not much of telecom software development hub. So telecom software development mainly happens in India, United Kingdom, and United States. So very little happens in Australia. So I had to take a deep breath and say, no, it's a time for me to just take a step back and start fresh. So I started my first job in Australia in Iris as a C++ developer in a financial domain, a similar sort of work culture, work environment. It went well for 2.5 years. And then I realized that I have to step up and increase my technical knowledge so that I can grow here and make a good living. So a nearest friend for a telecom or a C++ developer is a Python, because we would be writing Python scripts for one or the other things, and scripting is another thing for a telecom developer or a software developer, for the C++ developer from where I come from. So I picked Python, which was my nearest friend, and started gaining knowledge. It was a hard journey when I'm transitioning from C++ to Python. Took whatever the job I came. I luckily worked for Butterfly for 1.5 years. That was one of my Butterfly digital agency in Lonsdale Street. That was my one of my best places which I worked in Australia. After that, I moved to Jersey Telecom, JT Group. Now I'm back into telecom, but mainly as a Python developer in a different space of telecommunication. So enjoying it. So it's been 1 year plus in Jersey Telecom, happily working, and hope I work more here.
Very good. And so that's an interesting insight where you came from India, you were predominantly within the telco space. Was it a hard transition when you came here to try and move into a different industry?
Yes. I knew that we have Telstra, Vodafone, etc. Yeah. In fact, one of the software which I wrote in India was deployed to Vodafone Hutchison. Here it was actually Hutchison before. Wow. So I didn't expect such a hardship here. I thought as a developer, I should be able to make my move here. But I learned very quick that, there is no space if I speak about telecom. When I came here, I spoke to a lot of recruiters about SS7, SIGTRAN, 3G, 4G, all telco words, and none of them understood what I'm speaking about.
Right.
That was an shock for me. But then there was one recruiter by name Radhika, who is an ANZ recruiter or something like that. But she had her own small business in city, and she was helping people. So I took her help, and she told, we have very limited scope for this. So I think it's better to take a step back. And my wife was pregnant for twins then. She was in India.
Right.
So I didn't have time to wait because I need money to keep rolling. So I just decided, let's take a step back. Basically, I'm a software developer. I have done computer science and software. So take a step back and start looking things as a software developer rather than, telecom software developer. So I just stripped the telecom and I just told I'm a C++ software developer. So that's when I focused, and I applied for several companies only in this fashion rather than focusing on my telecom strength.
Yeah.
So that helped me to get my first gig at Iris. But few steps back in my career. So that was a hard decision, but I'm lucky that I took those steps. Otherwise, it would have been much harder for me.
Yeah. Okay. What did you find? What was the hardest aspect of that in terms of trying to find, a role that was sort of outside of your industry? Were there any sort of learnings that you could sort of share?
The biggest challenge what I saw is the mindset shift.
Yeah.
So working in one industry for a very long time makes you to think only in that particular box. Now I need to be open for new things for my brain to learn. So it was mainly a mindset shift initially I had to go through, and I have to let the new things learning, and especially because I've always worked in Linux environment, whereas in Iris I was working for VC++ or there is a difference in the platform. Even though it is programming, you have a different platform.
Yeah.
So I had to go through that learning curve, which had been ages before, learning things from little scratch, initial few months, going back to your roots, learning, and then coming up. So that was a little hard, especially when you have transitioned from all that and you have to go back. But it's all mindset, I just made sure I told myself, this is what it is, just get along. So luckily, the colleagues in Iris are very, very, very supportive. So initially, when I shared my story to them, they were able to understand what I'm telling.
Okay.
And they helped me a little bit to get the initial nuggets so that I'll be able to kickstart and perform much better in a shorter time. That was wonderful.
Okay. So for people that are interested in becoming a software developer, perhaps give what does a day in a life look like as a software developer?
Yeah. Just a second, I'll take us.
Yeah.
A software developer's life is more of solving problems. So depends on industry in which we are. So if someone is in data analytics or data mining industry, then their problem is to see the collection of data and then come up to a conclusion based on the analysis what they do. That, let me give an example. Say suppose you have a data of all people moving around in CBD.
Yeah.
You have collected that data, then you can say that from morning 8 to 10, this part of the CBD area will be busy. From 11 to 12, this area is supposed to be busy. So this sort of analytics you can do. Those analytics will help you in terms of doing, if you want to buy a shop, where you should buy a shop.
Yeah.
If you want to go for a subway, if you want to start a subway business, where your subway should be, because you need a foot traffic. So this sort of information is available by data analytics, right? So the people who are here they have to have that analytical skills so that you can grasp that analytical skills, plot that, and get that knowledge.
Yeah.
That's one part of software. Some people are very creative, like they know how to paint, they like the designing sort of a stuff. So for them, we will have an front-end developer sort of a role. And some people are very want to build a product from scratch. So, and then for them, we will have for them, they can start a product, they can start from scratch, build a product and get things going. So you write all the algorithms. So here you need problem solving, analytical skill, so that you get your job done with the best algorithm what you do. So these are why I brought this is, as a software development is of various fields, it depends on which field you are, and the lifestyle or the life cycle would differ.
Right.
But basically a software developer means he's sitting in front of a computer for 8 long hours and talking to a computer most of the time rather than talking to people, and then typing all day. So the first thing is, if someone is not happy to sit in front of computer, solve problems, if someone wants to do sales, want people to talk and all that, then this gig might not help. But if you are a problem solver, if you love building a product from scratch, if you love that engineering in you, the engineer in you to just kick off, then this is the place. So my day is something like this. I start my day at 8:30, have 2 or 3 coffees by 12.
Right.
I need many coffees. So, and then I take a break for lunch break, have a small walk, etc. The lunchtime, just to give my mind a bit fresh air. Then again start my work again at 1:15ish. Start, complete till 5, and then again I give a break. And I'm so much into computers that even after coming work, I have a standing desk and computers. I'll be standing in front of computers doing something. So I'll be in front of computers for more than 10 to 11 hours doing one or the other things. Mostly it's programming or technical related stuff, but otherwise it will be something else. So this is the life what we have. But most of the times when we speak about programming, it is not just writing code. It is also debugging others' code, debugging problems. So it is software and mechanical is different. In mechanical, you can see which bolt is loose and you can tighten up. In software, everything looks good, but you have to figure out where the issue is. So that's the challenge part.
Okay.
But it's fun.
Okay. And what made you want to become a software developer?
Wonderful question. The simple answer is I was very bad at mechanical. So, my father knew, I'm from India. So in India, it's not me who will take a career call. It'll be my father who takes my call. So my father knew that I'm very bad in mechanical. He's from mechanical industry. He's a mechanical engineer. So he knew that I'm terrible at mechanical stuff. I don't do anything. I'm a bit fat, so I can't bend myself. So he knew that industry I would fail to the max.
Right.
So, but he also knew that I'm good in maths, science, and problem solving and all other things. And that's when he told that for you, it is the computers which will suit. And he was right, because even in my school days when computers were introduced to me, I was very fascinated about it. I was playing a game called Digger, the DOS game. That was in something in 90s, we were having that DOS game. So we used to get 1 hour in front of computers, sit and play that game, that DOS game. It was so fun. So looking at that, he told, get into computers. And he was right. I started loving it. And I'm thank God I didn't get into mechanical. I would have been a terrible engineer if I was there. I can't do that. When they asked me to do a square cut of carpentry, I did triangle. So this is the right space. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that there are core sort of subjects that one must be confident in if they wanted to pursue a career in becoming a software developer?
Uh, I personally, I don't think someone has to be very keen on anything
Yeah.
to become a software developer. But something is you need to uh, have a passion towards solving problems,
Mm.
right? So if you say that now, or analytical skills, or programming or problem solving skills, that's the reason you have these questions being thrown out in interviews, especially when you're at the baseline of a software is actually solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
If someone says, nah, I don't like that, I like to argue, then please go to law school because that's a place you'll fit it.
Right.
If someone says, nah, I like I like insects and I like animals, or I like dissection, etc., then it's biology. Come on, you can't, your passion is moving towards that side.
Yeah.
But if you love something, problem solving or maths or integration differentiation, which I love, my favorite subject is and differentiation in maths.
Yeah.
So if someone is of those sort of thought process, then you would love programming. At some point, it'll times.
Yeah.
And even for me, while sleeping also, I'll think about maths, and the program comes around. I have fixed a lot of bugs while sleeping. And the
Right.
next day I remembered where the bug is and I opened the code and I fixed it. So that level of, the passion will get into it.
Mm.
The code will be running in way. So if someone is a problem solver, analytical skills, then this is the place.
Okay. Um, so what would you say that the hardest aspect is of being a software developer?
For me, the hardest aspect is sometimes the room.
Oh, I just cut
That's
out. Say that again.
we sweat even though we are sitting in an AC room.
Right.
That's the pressure what we have. That's
Right.
not always, but it happens. It has happened several times.
Mm.
Just think of a engineer when there is a bank outage or telecommunication outage, or if some server is down,
Mm-hmm.
there is some engineer in the world who is working on it to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
He will be sweating. For every second, the delay of bringing the server back, there is the money lost. The
Yeah.
stock market server can't crash, right? So that's the pressure what the network people there would be. So that's the most difficult challenge is these sort of situations, like if someone is dealing with outages, someone is dealing with customer issues, someone is dealing with memory leaks, memory corruption, that sort of threading related issues, those sort
Mm.
of issues becomes really big challenge. The outage is the most. I believe the real good developers, the real leaders, real managers are born in those tough situations.
Yeah.
I still remember a manager in Motorola. We were dealing with an outage, and he just told at night 10 p.m. that there are 15 people in office at night 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Right? We need to fix that issue. So then he just stood up and told, guys, you just do your work. You will not attend any phone call. Me that you can call me anytime, even at night 12 or 1. I'll be awake because this issue has to go in. So he
Yeah.
gave that, supporting shoulder to us, not telling that, you have to do it. Otherwise, I'll kick you out. Not
Right.
something like that, right? So good managers, good leaders are born there. And the challenging time is handling those situations.
Right.
And we will learn how to be calm, how to keep quiet, just focus on the work rather than focusing on the outcome.
Yeah.
So, and team effort, all that sort of a thing is comes into place in that time, because you have to work as a team in those
Yes.
times. If you
Right.
work as an individual, it's hard to reach the point. But if you work as a team, you'll be able to reach there.
Okay. And that probably leads me on to the next question. In terms of where a software developer would sit within an organization, where would they sort of be positioned within an organization?
A software developer is a pillar or the bottom thick part of the pyramid structure of an organization, especially in the technical ladder. So organization will be divided into two ladders, one in technical, one is non-technical.
Yeah.
So in the technical ladder, we form the base pillar for the organization to grow. In short, we are one of the most important people.
Yes.
Even though many people are, many software engineers may not feel that, but really we are one of the important people, because we bring that vision, whatever the higher management has, to reality. If you don't have a good software engineering team, it is very hard to make a vision to a reality. For example, if we have a vision of building a website for hospitals, then you need to have that vision is good, but who will convert that to a reality? You need good engineers to make a good product. So we are the creators of a good product.
Yeah. Okay. And so what would be the advice that you would give someone that is wanting to pursue a career in software development?
The advice what I would say is, before, not just in software development, before picking anything as your career, it's better to just see where your passion is and what your interest is, and where you'll be happy. If you think that problem solving, analytical skills, and creating a product makes you happy, then this is the place for you. But otherwise, I would say, if you think something else is, then please go that way. But if someone chooses a software as their career, a couple of things what I wanted to let them is, if you have chosen software as a career, don't stress that how many languages I need to know, and what is like, don't get into that rat race of I know this, I know that, have to know this, have to know that. Take one thing at a time, take slowly, plan accordingly. It takes a while to reach the place where you have to be, but it's possible. It's a slow journey, and the learning never stops here. Every 6 months you have an Angular release coming up. So the React, every 6 months they'll bring up something. So one or the other things keep coming up. So your learning curve never stops. So don't juggle around with many software industries. Pick a streamline, say, I want to be a web developer, I want to become a data analytical developer. Pick one stream, be a master of it, and once you have reached that mastery, then you can switch to something else. But at one place, if we start juggling around, then we will never reach anywhere. But knowledge is king. The biggest thing what I would say is, especially for the people who are just coming out of unis, when I speak to people in India, the students in India, they are worried about money. The nugget what I have learned is, don't run behind money. Don't run behind money. Run behind knowledge.
Yes.
The time you run behind knowledge, money will run behind you. So the money will chase you and you will have a good life. But what you need to focus is not money, but you have to focus on.
Oh, it just cut out that last part. Just say that again.
What I told is, focus on knowledge, not the money. So that, once you focus on knowledge, the money will definitely follow you.
Yeah. Well, now that's brilliant advice. I believe that to a T. I think that money is just a byproduct of whatever you do. So if you have a strong passion for whatever it is that you do, the money will definitely follow behind you. So I think, and especially knowledge is definitely power. Once you accumulate enough knowledge, you can then share your wisdom, and people will then want to sort of understand what it is that you know as well. I guess lastly from me, what is it that we can expect from yourself?
I've been in this programming industry for 15 years. I love programming. I will program as long as possible, but that's my passion. But I believe coaching, mentoring, entrepreneurship is something, which is in my heart.
Yeah.
That's my first law. So at some point, I would like to transition myself to become build which can survive, which can scale for many length. My I have achieved a lot of my wishes, a lot of my dreams. The one thing which I haven't achieved is building a business with at least 150 employees in my company.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's my dream, but this is the one dream which I have not achieved. The rest I have achieved a lot to a large extent. So I'm working on it. Hope someday before I retire, I'll I'll retire at 80, so not
Oh,
before
you
80.
got plenty of time then.
Yeah, hope I survive till 80. So, but hope before that, I'll build a company and I'll have 150 employees so that, they can return what to the society what I wish to.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Wonderful,
That's my,
Sesh.
yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Shankar.